Hello and welcome to another long-awaited podcast with Krystal, one of our one of our longest members of the app, and was there from like the beginning, from since the idea come to fruition. Oh, that's a big word for me.
Yeah.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah, I'm proud of that one. But yeah, so you've been there since the beginning, really, haven't you? And like, it's good because because of that time frame, I've seen your journey and seen the changes and seen what's happened, and it's quite fascinating to see where you've kind of started at to where you've kind of got to now. And I think it's going to be a really good episode. It's going to help quite a lot of people that are going to be in similar situations and give people hope because of some of the things you've done along the way. But without further ado, I will hand over to Krystal and let her kind of give a backstory of kind of her life, really, and what made her how she got to here, really.
So when I first started in April, I was hitting a brick wall with my children's aspects. So when I first had our first call, I was bipolar, Krystal. You know, I've got bipolar. I'm a nutter, apparently. I can use that word because I've had that diagnosed. So as a child, I come from a very chaotic, violent household where, you know, you never knew if there was going to be food or a beating, or mum was a heavy drinker. So I don't remember a lot of it. I remember that, but I don't remember my behaviours and stuff. But I know by like 11, I used to bounce off the walls. I loved an audience, liked to make people laugh, class clown. I was quite bad for it, lack of sleep and all the rest of it. And that carried on, but at home I had to kind of keep myself in the box or I'd get beaten. So by the age of about 14, I'd been sofa surfing. And I just, from 14 up until about 18, 19, it was just drugs, drink. I could perform a job and work 96 hours a week, and I was a butcher. So 96 hours a week, running on Red Bull, 4 cans a day.
I didn't know that. Butcher. I'll come back to that. Remind me that.
Yes. I've done it.
Cool.
Yeah. So I've done long hours, coped really well under pressure. Strange, really. And then I had my first child. Just didn't cope with sitting in a house with a child. He's now 22. Love him dearly, but I just didn't cope with the whole, where's my routine? Couldn't get up, get out of the house. Couldn't keep a house tidy, let alone clean, let alone organised. And in my wisdom, I had another child. To a violent alcoholic. Oh, no. This all becomes important soon. And again, I just couldn't cope. It was one of them. I found myself wanting one kid would go to school, the other one slept in the daytime so I'd sleep. Now I know it was burnout, but to me it felt a lot like depression. But because he was violent, by the time, you know, he'd beat me up a few times and all the rest of it and left, I ended up under psychiatrists. So this was in 2009. So I was referred because I'd gone quite a few days with not eating anything. 10, 12 days, just cups of teas, fags, Red Bull. Sleep weren't great, but that's expected when I'm having loads of Red Bull, right? So I was referred in the March. I was seen in the April. By May, I had a diagnosis of bipolar disorder. So we're talking an hour and a half of sitting in a room with a psychiatrist. There was no manic episodes seen. No grandiose ideas. Clinical criteria weren't met. I had childhood traumas, domestic violence traumas. So for 3 years, because I'm saying, you know, I have some days that I'm a little bit hyper, but then I have lows. I was being plied with mood stabilisers and antidepressants. We're talking quetiapine. Go on.
What back then was it bipolar mainly? Was it EUPD or BPD a thing then, or was that later on?
So it started off with bipolar. So for 3 years, heavily medicated. I was in another relationship, good idea at the time, who was coercively controlling me. So I was in a psychiatrist's office saying, he expects me to stay up till midnight, sexual demands, financial control. He wants me to give up smoking. He wants me to give up Red Bull. He doesn't understand my condition. All documented. But still, they used to go to him to find out if they should up my meds. Wasn't married. So all the kind of safeguarding concerns and signs that abuse was present, ignored. I was the headache.
That's really, really, really dangerous, isn't it? Like having control of your meds to the fact of like just dosing you up. And, oh, that's really bad. That's awful.
Nate, he'd do things like throw him in the bin, tell them that he threw him in the bin because he couldn't take what I was doing, knew I self-harmed and I'd attempted overdose. So he'd do things like he'd leave knowing that the fear of rejection or fear of abandonment was sky high. And then he'd come back, give me a bandage for my cuts, give me a box of paracetamol for my pain, knowing I was at risk of attempt overdose. So, you know, we're talking heavy medications. So I won't, because I don't know what we're allowed to do. But when it came to the sexual demands, I was under medication that would sedate me. So you can imagine, without saying it out loud, waking up to stuff going on. And I was that far down, a zombie with all the meds. I didn't see it. So by the time I went into the mental health facility, family members were phoning them. It's him. And because I was so, I love him. Nobody listened to my family. Nobody. So I'd done a 3 weeks, 28 days, 4 weeks. Come out. He decided then he's going to leave me. So there's a pattern emerging. I'd be, you know, he'd phone me up in the morning. They'd all witnessed the call because the telephone was in the reception right by the nurse's office. So they would know I'd come off the phone. I'd be in bits. He'd turn up in the morning and take me out, knowing I'm in a facility for a reason, and bring me back at night. Because then that way he still had control, because I'm essentially in a mental hospital, because that's what I am. I was mental, right? But he'd still get his way with me in the daytime. And no one picked up on just how upset, traumatised, off the rails I was when I went back. Does that make sense? I'd come back into the hospital and I'd be given lorazepam sedation, zopiclone sleeping tablet, and they would witness me be very fretful in my sleep all night. So I came out anyway. He was still back. Oh, sorry. The day I came out, the nurses had witnessed him assault me on the drive of the hospital. Throw me out of his car, slap me. The nurses rang the police. The police done nothing. Got in their car, drove away, because I'm the one with problems, right? It's my fault. Same when I was a child, you know, my mum would do what she was doing, but then she's a gobby teenager, or she's not been at school, or she's not tidied her room. And everyone would go away. So that, again, happened in that relationship. I'm the problem. So after 3 years of the bipolar diagnosis, they changed it to rapid cycling, which is a quicker shifting of bipolar. And then they changed it to EUPD, or borderline personality. At that point, you're just a headache. No one wants to deal with you. So there was 15 different types of meds over the course of from 2009 to 2015.
Jesus.
There was allergic reactions. There was a major allergic reaction, Stephen-John syndrome. 2 weeks later, the psychiatrist put me back on it because the benefits outweighed the risks. But I wasn't bipolar. Shouldn't have been anywhere near lamotrigine. Yeah. So that's a little bit about that. So that carried on. So you go to your GP. Sorry, go on, Nate.
Yeah, I was going to say, so before just with the diagnosis, like, it seems like a lot of times women specifically go to the doctor for help and come out with a diagnosis of them, one of them, or if not, as I said, in your case, either of them.
Yep.
So, especially when you got diagnosed, it was kind of like it followed the pattern, isn't it? It was bipolar, then you got the EUPD, and it's just added on. Where you could argue that even they contradict each other, and how could you really tell the difference between both? Like, instead of it's did you? I suppose, and even when you're saying about the support and not being helped and not being that, it's just a letdown of the services throughout, isn't it? Like, now I would hope to think that domestic abuse is on the up in the sense, not, oh my God, that sounded bad. That is on the up, is in the sense of awareness,
recognising, yeah,
people getting sentenced, and even like coercive control, people know what that means now, and all of that. But to go back then, and even that not to be intervened in the trauma stages, is crazy. Without the diagnosis, to get not the trauma addressed is insane. Like, that must have been horrible.
So Nate, with bipolar and BPD, going back to that, they're very different. They're very different. So bipolar doesn't happen daily. It doesn't happen weekly. If you've had a traumatic event, or even a marriage or death or a house move or a breakup, you would start cycling. Generally, you would start off in a manic. What goes up always comes down. And it has to last a period of time. The manic is 7 days. You've got to have a manic period where you have very little sleep, but yet you're so wide awake and on the go. And I never had that. Never. So it was the easier option, because at the point of being diagnosed with bipolar, they can heavily medicate you. And then it stops all problems, doesn't it? Because you feel nothing.
Did it work? I said, did it work? Did it just?
Nate, I was a zombie. I was a zombie.
Anything. Yeah.
I may have been present physically for my oldest 2 kids. You know, they got I love you and their basics bathed in a bed. I was on another planet, man. Just sit waiting for bedtime to come. So when they changed it, you kind of go, oh, I've had 3 years of bipolar. It took you 3 years. How? Not understanding, I was an inpatient as well. How did that happen? So then even once I was discharged from psychiatric services, right at the end there was a letter that said, doesn't meet criteria for a personality disorder, just behavioural problems. Yet, every time I went to the doctors, since 2015, bipolar was mentioned, EUPD, it was always put down to that, always. Certain professionals that were involved in social services because of domestic violence. All through my records, I'm bipolar. I'm the problem, right? And that was constant. So in 2018, I've already got one child. So AJ was born in 2016. I found out when she was 4 she's autistic. New to me, learned about it, could deal with, as much as I could. Then my other one, Matilda, was born in 2018. Once she hit the age of 4, maybe 5, I was watching outbursts, I was watching kick-offs, violence, how she dealt with situations, and I thought, this looks familiar, really familiar. So I started getting all my medical records. After going through it all and then kind of researching clinical criteria and what should have happened at the time and how it should have been managed, and the fact that bipolar never goes away. So it's a chemical imbalance, and unless you're on the likes of lithium or quetiapine, you're not remaining stable. It's not something you can control without medication. And I'd had lots of traumatising things happen. So I should have been cycling quite a lot. I should have been going through that quite a lot. So after reading it all, I asked for a psychiatric appointment where I now live. And I showed them all the letters. And they said, yeah, it needs to be removed off your medical records. So that was in May last year. But up until, I'm going to say January of this year, it's still being mentioned in referrals. So after that was done by the psychiatrist, that they agreed, you're right, you're not bipolar, you're not EUPD. That's 15 years I've been robbed. Literally robbed. The stigma.
What would you, I mean, I always think there should be like some kind of compensation or something you get for that. And it's just like, it's just not enough that they just say, oh, sorry. Because as you said, the medication you've been on, the things that
they're not even saying sorry. Even when I've presented the evidence to the NHS, they've contradicted themselves in 3 separate responses to complaints. So I've instructed solicitors. Now, a lot of people might go, but that's the NHS. It is the NHS, but it doesn't come out of the pot that is used to treat us in hospitals. There's a different pot. So money's not going to make it better. But without someone stepping up and saying, we should have recognised your traumas. We should have dealt with that because that's the root cause. So then I had my ADHD assessment and severe combined ADHD. Makes sense. But then you still fight for the medication. Does that make sense? So they'll throw antidepressants and mood stabilisers at you, which are really damaging. But to get the one medication I need to feel okay, I'm on a wait list.
It's concerning, isn't it, that they can give a diagnosis and leave you waiting for so long without the tablets. I really don't get that principle. How did you feel when you got diagnosed with ADHD?
I don't know. It's almost like you just feel robbed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It all makes sense now. You know, it all makes sense. But at the same time, I could have had a good career. I could have gone really far in life because there were so many, social services as a child failed me. I was sofa surfing at the age of 14. I didn't get sat for all my exams because I hadn't been at school because Mum drank the money away rather than giving me my bus fare to go to school. And I'd go into school with a black eye and say, I've got to go and stay elsewhere for 2 weeks. This is what's happened. No one picked up on it. 14. By the time I'd moved in with unofficial foster carers, people took me in and they were saying, look, we need legal guardianship of this child. Nobody wanted to do it because of the funding. I could have had a career. I could have gone far. Even down to the relationships and stuff. How do you know what a healthy relationship looks like when you're growing up with different men in and out the house and violence and, So it all goes back to kind of the childhood, the controlling stuff. I didn't even know I was being gaslit. I didn't even know he was a narcissist. And the people that should have, I was the headache.
So do you think if you had medication throughout, things would have been slightly different, in the sense of you might have been a bit more able to get yourself out of these situations? Or do you think that it would have been like that anyway because of the trauma, but because that wasn't picked up, that was the main reason?
I think both, Nate. I think had I got a lot of... had I got out of there when it started at the age of about 8, had someone picked up, had my dad done something about it, had authorities, schools, had they done something about it, I might have got the right help early on. But the longer it festers, and then you're keeping all the traumas from the your RSD with ADHD, you're constantly battling I'm not good enough, I'm crazy, I need to be better, do better, but you can't do better because you don't know how. So I think had the trauma been dealt with first and someone recognised ADHD, it would have, I'd have had a good life.
But has that made you a better parent in the sense of, especially for your younger two, because where they have got the diagnosis and you know what's missed? So has that made you kind of a better in that sense? So I suppose the silver lining moment is that your children now get a better understanding than he would have if you didn't go through it, if that makes sense?
For me, with my kids, kind of, it sounds so corny, saved me. Because once
I understand that.
Once you see the level of help they need and to feel secure and safe and mum's got my back, kind of, and I mean, all parents have that for their kids, but these two, I had to educate myself on. I had to do better. And knowing that what they could turn into without the right input,
yeah, exactly,
is why it was so important to fight to get them in the right setting. Mainstream was going to traumatise them, and they're going to end up being children that have that same feeling that I had. So it just wasn't an option. The fight had to happen. And when I I deregistered, so I had them at home. I wasn't about to let them feel that worthless and crap about themselves for no one.
How does it feel when, like, so, because I got my diagnosis when I was 11, so how does it feel going through it, learning it through your child first, and then you getting it? Does it kind of, does it help or hinder that? Because I suppose, does it then become a big reset again and then lose that learning? Or can you kind of what you've learned put into practice? Or is it knock you back so much that it's almost like, oh wow, because you have to, because especially in your case, you'd have to go back through like 15 years and go back like through, so that was because of this. So it's a big revelation in a sense, isn't it?
I think for me it helped Matilda more. So
yeah,
because I know that I was a raging bitch when I was younger. That's all it was flying off the handle, it was being obnoxious. I still can be. It's being no filter, being rude, trying to check because I had no one to help me manage and navigate those feelings. So when I'm watching Tilda doing what she's doing, there has to be boundaries, regardless of her ADHD autism. It's teaching her about her self-worth. Yes, this is difficult, but you can also achieve amazing things. Like, don't write yourself off. So, and for me, right now, I think it's making me a better person overall. Like, giving me purpose in the whole sense of, if I can help one family, one person that goes through it, I'm doing a good job.
And I think, again, you've already accomplished that, because I think you've helped loads of families on the app as well. But I think just when you get to the point of like getting the diagnosis when you've got children, I always say this to families that don't like getting the diagnosis and say stuff like, it's not about me, it's about them. Again, a study actually came out the other day. I've been saying to everybody, it's a 95% pass rate. I have made that fact up, by the way, people. But now I will keep saying it because I saw a study by a nurse that said,
is it correct?
ADHD is 94%. I was 1% off. 1% off.
Close, mate. Close.
That's for either parent. So when it comes to like your family and stuff like that, it's empowering more than it is a hindrance. So where people think it's I'm taking attention away from my child and I'm doing this, as you just said, it gives your child to look up to you and be like, oh, okay, I'm going to be fine. It's the first time every kid looks up to their parents, and if the parents have got the same thing they've got and they've made it through and they've got the house and they've got kids, that's the biggest thing you can idolise for them, isn't it?
See, I found it really difficult. It was one of those moments where I still find it hard to say out loud to certain people that I've got ADHD, because I was fine telling people I had bipolar. That was fine. ADHD.
Oh, really? That was easier?
Yeah, because because society drums it in that it's a child's problem. It's a child's problem because that's how it is. Children,
I suppose, yeah.
you know, we've all, oh, that kid's got ADHD. They'll be all right when they're older. I still struggle. I think you learn to manage it better, maybe, but it's still there. It's not. No. So yeah, I find it difficult to kind of. I know I'm quite open with you lot.
Yeah.
But in everyday life, I'm funny about admitting to anyone that I've got ADHD because of what's going on in the media at the moment.
And do you think a part of it as well is because you're obviously kind of new to the journey and you don't really understand what that means for you yet? As a sense, I say that in the sense of I've had it since 11 and I still struggle to answer that question sometimes because it's impossible sometimes to answer. Like, but do you think that might be something as well? Because it took me, I kind of can relate to the fact of with autism. So ADHD at the time was naughty kid syndrome, and in fact, actually, let's just say how it was. Getting labelled with ADHD, people left you alone a little bit, in the sense of your peers could have been like, oh, I don't know, he might punch me in the face at some point, and I don't understand why he'll do it. So it was kind of beneficial for me to run with that mojo thing. But I got diagnosed with autism straight after. But I think I didn't tell anyone over it, and I thought it was embarrassment, but it wasn't because I worked in the field with autism since then, and it was only the last couple of years. But I think it's because it took me a while to understand what that was for me. So saying it openly without being able to then challenge people's perception of what that means to what it relates to me, I think that's where I was scared. So like if I said someone I've got autism, they think, oh, he rocks in the corner. And if I couldn't say, no, I'm not that kind of autism, I do this, it's almost like it leaves the interpretation up to them then, doesn't it?
See, for me, I jumped on the ADHD. I was like, once I realised that actually this really fits me, I run with that. But it's been pointed out recently that actually, Krystal, you meet criteria for an autism diagnosis. Are you going to do that? And for some reason, my brain's going, no, don't do it. Don't do it. You don't. No, you don't want that. And I'm not embarrassed about my children. I'm not embarrassed. You know, I'm not. I have nothing but love for ASD children, adults, because it's so much to navigate. Do I need that on my brain at the moment? Do I need an added, well, actually, Krystal, you've got that as well? I don't think I do right now. Because I just don't know if I can manage it.
I mean, yeah, I understand that really. But again, I would always say ADHD is more, because you get medication for it, it's the easier one to go for, isn't it? Autism, again, especially in adulthood, it is one of them ones where it could be more person-centered to whether you need it or not. Because it's not like you're going to get the diagnosis and then all the support and then all the understanding, are you? You can kind of get the understanding the same way you would get it without the diagnosis. So having the actual label might then, as you said, tip you into then overthinking everything. And from experience, having both of them, you'll never know which is which. I feel like it just morph into a new diagnosis, and I think that's what we need to start seeing ADHD or whatever it's called as, because of it. Instead of it being like ADHD and autism and then use one or the other, that's very autistic thinking about it being black and white, isn't it? It's more grey.
It's like, so crossing over, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you haven't had, so with medication, again, that was when it would probably show more, wouldn't it, with the medication? You're waiting for your medication at the moment, aren't you?
I've got my appointment on the 28th of May.
A week.
In a week. But again, for me, so I struggle with the OCD of intrusive thoughts. You're aware of that, Nate. So my head goes, I can't take, I'm going to die. Ludicrous, I give my 7-year-old child them. It's all right for her to have them. But my head goes, no.
I mean, I would give it to you there. They are quite frightening medication. It's in the stigma of taking medication, because I don't, and I think what happened was, this is from my generation, the tablets they used to give us there was no choice but to be on something like Concerta, which would be full whack, which would be like the highest needs. So someone like me, it worked perfectly for. Other kids, that would have changed them too much, and it did change me a lot. But now the kids have such different medication and different dosage, and it only lasts 4 hours to 6 hours, but the stigma's still there. And because they used to be a controlled drug as well, so they are a stimulant. So I can understand the fear, and I don't think that's uncommon.
Still controlled.
Well, yeah, where they go then. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so it's one of them where you just, I don't know. For me, I'm not sure. I'll say it anyway. I started Manjaro 11 weeks ago. It does something to the receptors of dopamine receptors, and I found that it's almost like my ADHD switch has switched off a little bit, because I've never known anything, my head to be so quiet, no racing, but I've also given up Red Bull. So I'm not sure what's going, whether is the Monjaro.
A new baseline of peace, yeah.
It's a very strange feeling. I've only ever felt this way on heavy antidepressants.
I've heard quite a lot of people say about that jab having symptoms, masking symptoms of ADHD and being well for ADHD, and I do think that there will be parts to it. The only thing I would expect it not be able to do is the second half, which would be the rushing your body, keeping your body at the same pace as your mind. So as much as they could do, I think they've got like the dopamine receptors. They give the dopamine. The side effects of not eating is what kind of that you're using for anyway. But I think with the actual tablets being the chemical makeup, I think the missing ingredient would be that your body goes to rest too, because your body then matches up with your brain.
So everything's calm, but I'm missing the days where ADHD is so important, where you're ripping rooms apart and doing loads of stuff that not normal neurotypicals won't get done in a day. Whereas I could flip 3 rooms, change them all around and think, I've done it, ta-da. That's gone away.
It, yeah.
But my mind is so peaceful, and even my sleep, but again, that could be the caffeine. But it's certainly done something to dopamine receptors in not just food. I'm not craving cigarettes. I'm not craving Red Bull, chocolate, pizzas, sugar. There's no want for it.
I mean, that could also be the effect as well, because I'm a real good big supporter about healthy eating, and I'm not actually in the moment to brag about what I'm doing at the moment, because I'm actually slipping a little bit. But I know the difference, and it's like a superpower. So I wonder if it has side effects, but because people are eating healthy and not the sugary stuff as well, that does have a massive impact, especially with ADHD. Because it makes your energy levels set, and that's what you need. If you've got spiky energy levels, especially with the spiky dopamine, you've just got no hope, have you? The body's all over the place. So for me,
I was always eating junk food because my children don't eat nice home-cooked dinners, so it's easier to feed them whatever. And I'd get takeaway when they were in bed. So we're talking like 3,000 calories a night of crap. So you'd get up in the morning, sluggish, can't be bothered, cigarette after cigarette, because again, I'm still constantly going, need a bit of dopamine, nothing's bringing me dopamine. 2-3 cans of Red Bull, still not getting it, I can go sleep now. And since I've kind of cut it all out, oh man, there's something in it. There really is something in those habits that I'd formed over a lifetime. It's been about 11, nearly 12 weeks. You've said it yourself, Nate, you've commented, Krystal, you're calm. It's a different world. So I think there's a lot to be said to looking after yourself and looking after your body.
I mean, and it's one of the things that, because obviously we've got like Tara, haven't we? She does the activities, and the problem is as well, when people in crisis, they think that that's too simple of an option, isn't it? Like, yeah, shut up, sugar's going to change my life, and I can't stress enough how much that could actually be the stuff that changes your life more than anything you've ever tried. Like that combination of healthy lifestyle, healthy outlook, and starting to feel good in yourself, the confidence it gives you back. It's just a chain reaction for all sorts of stuff, not just the physical side, but mentally. Like,
it's just even the little things like getting up and getting dressed. You know, some people can't. I've been there many years ago. Can't manage the washing and the getting dressed because it's just too much effort. It's not important. But just having a little shower to yourself, or even, especially when you're looking after kids like ours, you're constantly pouring into everybody else. You're constantly waking up burnt out, but you've got to keep going. It's catching a break. It's resting, learning it's okay to rest.
Yeah. And as I said, you need your food to match up to the energy levels that you need. So like stuff like sugar, when you've got it temporarily for like half an hour, when you're actually manic for 4 hours, is not going to be good, because the last 3 hours you're running on nothing, your body's going and burning energy. So there's a big thing about ADHD, about studies that they do about how much someone with ADHD would burn compared to, so I can't remember what the studies actually are called, it's a scientific name, but it's about how some people can eat just junk foods all the time and never put on weight, and it's the reason why, and it's not that they just got better metabolisms, it's actually nothing to do with the metabolisms, it's because they will have habits very similar to ADHD, so like keep tapping, or walking up and down, pacing, doing stuff that you're saying 3 rooms in a day, which exhausts an over amount of energy, and it seems to be like you could just, the amount of energy that you burn with ADHD, I don't think people really underestimate how much it on just the moving around and the going up and down, the things that you get
Yeah.
into. But also part of that is the thinking in your brain, and they're trying to work out now. And this study was about how much of, yes, the physical side has the calories, but how much does being like anxious and having ADHD, your brain worrying, that burns calories, but how much does that has an effect daily on your calorie input?
Well, when you're doing all the fight or flight and your adrenaline's rising, that's got to burn calories because you're going into absolute survival mode. So there's got to be something in it. And if you're not eating enough to sustain, burnouts are going to be twice as full on. You know, when you're into burnout, if you're not, I know myself, I can forget to drink. I might not look like it, but I used to go days without food. I can still go without food for quite a few days now. No lunch, no breakfast, no dinner. Cup of coffee. That's it. And then when the burnouts come, it's twice as worse because you've got no resources to back you up. You've got no vitamins in you, no nutrients.
Yeah, which we're burning off at a rate, that's what I'm trying to get at, twice the amount anyway. So if you think about why we're deficit in magnesium, it's because, again, with the minerals that we're using, because we move so much and our brain's going so much, we're using extra minerals than a normal person would use anyway. So we're deficit already in most vitamins. That's why it's a good job to take supplements, because that's going to change your life anyway to get you to nice base levels.
Yeah. And I don't think enough, there should be so much more research in ways that, I know there's stuff out there, but proper clinical trials to see the effects of food or the likes of Manjaro or caffeine, or I know there's evidence that caffeine is a stimulant, so therefore ADHD people like it, but it's so damaging.
Yeah, it's not good.
The crashes from it, and
with stuff like caffeine, it's quite a bad addiction. So it's like similar how to antidepressants. Is why I don't agree as much as I'm on antidepressants. I take a little top of 50 milligrams. I'm not going to say I don't, but I don't agree with them, and I wish I was aware more, because I wouldn't have gone on to the cycle. Because what actually happens with the stuff like caffeine is, say you have it's very regulated, so that it's coffees, isn't it? So you'd have that regular night. Say you wake up, you have one at 8 o'clock in the morning. You don't actually get used to having more caffeine. Your body drops caffeine from its levels to match up, so when you get the boost, you go normal. So you actually give yourself a caffeine deficit by having more caffeine. People think they actually put more caffeine in them, but it's not. Your body's actually gone to crash to fill it in. It's the same as antidepressants. So your dopamine receptors actually, because you're giving yourself dopamine artificially, they stop pumping it themselves. They're like, oh, I don't need you now.
they stop because they don't know what they're doing right now. You've got it being made. Why am I making
worse
it?
than you was when you came on.
Yeah, you feel more depressed now, and you're just thinking, what is this?
Yes,
I've got to go back on them. So then you're just repeating.
Yeah, you rely on it for the energy, and then you end up actually giving yourself less energy by giving yourself some of that caffeine. I'll tell you what is good though, guava seeds and stuff like the natural caffeine. They're a bit strong, but they are good.
Yeah, I've got some. I get electrolytes, and I've got some with guava and stuff like that in it. Just because electrolytes always help occasionally, and they give you not. I don't necessarily go, I'm buzzing because of it, but it's just a nice taste, and if it helps, I carry on with that.
Did you find, like, when you go so you know it's burnout, but before that, when you thought it was like depression and stuff, I suppose that was harder to get out of. Is it easier to get out of now you've got ADHD?
Now I learned to resonate. Years ago, I couldn't sit comfortable in that feeling. I felt suicidal. What's the point in living? Self-harmed. Now I can kind of say, okay, today's not the day. Rest.
And that's very
rest. It's okay not to feel like you're doing something. It's okay to just sit with a feeling of tiredness. I couldn't do that years ago, but now I know it's ADHD. I'm okay at ease with just not.
I mean, that's really good. That's a very good thing that you've picked up about the resting and stuff like that, because I think that takes people years, and even take me years, because the best advice I'd give you for ADHD is you can control certain bits of it, but don't fight it. So if you've done burnout for 2 days and you've been doing amazing, take the third day to rest. If you're trying to do it and then all of a sudden you're feeling bad because you can't get up to what you were doing yesterday, that's just your time to rest. Your body, I promise you, will come back, and you'll put that work back in later in the week. So like, it's trusting yourself to come back around to get to that point again. It's just knowing not to fight while you're going through the drama, because it lasts twice as long. Then you end up burnout.
But it's also feeling, again, because society says your house has got to be spotless. You should be stood there ironing, and you've not washed up after dinner. But why can't you even just wash up after dinner? Oh, I've got to have a bath. I have to. Oh, it's too much energy. All of that because society tells us that this is how the real world looks. Why don't you live in the real world? Why aren't you doing what normal people will say are doing? And it's that guilt that it plays into, and I'm still learning that it's going to be there tomorrow.
It's crazy because I can even do it with calls. Like, so I can have like, I could do it for like a week straight and be good for calls. And one day I'll wake up and I'm like, I can't speak to anyone. I don't want to do it. I've got nothing to. And it's like, and even like my videos. So I have gaps in my videos, but I had to. It took me ages. So when I started doing social media, I had it in my head that I had to do a video every day. And it didn't work because I'd record the video as they are. They're not scripted. They're just recording as you go sort of thing. And I couldn't maintain me to be able to be in that mood that was given out every single day. So now I do it in batches. So I just run in. I do 3 or 4 videos when I'm in that mood, and it's worked in my favour so much better because I will get there again. And I started panicking, thinking, "Oh no, I'm not going to get there. This is it. I can't help anyone." But even with the calls, sometimes I even get there. I'm like, I can't do this, and I'm like, you've done this like for the last year, standard every single day. What do you mean you can't do it? It's light work, but it really gets you go from one extreme to the next, doesn't it? And you just have nothing left. Like really,
for me, I kind of now go. I'll make plans. I've got to do X, Y, and Z. Wake up in the morning. I absolutely know at a certain point by 9 o'clock. Doesn't look like it's happening today, Krystal. So I kind of go, look, just do 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. Small chunks because 4 or 5 hours of tedious jobs just doesn't work. So I do it in small 5 minute. Quickly go out and do that, and then reward myself with I don't know. A stupid video on TikTok or some crap that I do on my phone, and then go back to something else for 5 minutes. And actually, with ADHD, things get done quick.
Yeah.
Gets done quick when you're absolutely in that frame of mind.
We spend, and I promise you this, about 4 times longer on any task, thinking about that task, doing that task, than we do executing it. So like, I do all the time. My worst one is the kitchen. Like the kitchen is the worst. I hate washing up. And it's like I'll think about doing that all day, and then I'll do it. It takes 10 minutes. You're like, and it gets pissed off. I'm like, why have you spent all day worrying about this?
Nate, I have clean washing in laundry baskets, all washed. But then I've got to get out tumble dryer. That's just hard work. And then it's in piles, and I think I've only got to go and put it away. It will sit there because it is the most tedious, boring task to do. And then the guilt kicks in. It's washing. Why can't you just put your washing away? It's messy. And then messy.
You can't even work as human. Like,
your head then goes, oh my God, it's chaotic. Get it put away. I can't deal with the mess. Can't deal with the mess. But then your brain's going, no, step away from the task. It's fucking draining. It's draining.
I like to see it as a sacrifice for our. So like I know it's gonna be cheesy, but like every superhero has a weakness, right? And I feel like with people with ADHD, it is our gift to do stuff like that, to be able to do stuff so quickly. But when you manage it right, so when you're not going over the top and then leaving yourself doing that every day, burning out, and when you really manage it right, that's your gift. The sacrifice has to be, we have to have a day off in a week or not be able to do anything, because otherwise it wouldn't be fair. Can you imagine if we could function like that 7 days a week? There'll be no need for I would argue some jobs wouldn't even need anyone but anyone with ADHD.
Could you imagine how much we get done?
Yeah.
Because for me, like I say, in one day, I could decorate a whole room in one day when I'm in the right mood.
Yeah.
Imagine how much you could get done if you had 7 days of that energy.
It wouldn't be fair. It has to come at a cost, and that's the cost.
The cost is burnout. Yeah. Once it hits, just let it ride out, and I think just sit with it, just feel it, know you're burnt out, recognise it.
With it. And I think being at peace with it as well sometimes takes it away. Like sometimes, when I'm doing what a trick that I trick myself into is similar to what you do with a 5 minute thing, but I get into, so I'll just do 10 minutes. I start doing 10 minutes. I never stop after 10 minutes. I'll stop after an hour. Like I've done it. I've started a task, but I trick myself it's going to be short. So I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. And then once I start it,
and then you just crack on.
You've done it.
See, mine's music. I put my headphones on loud.
Oh yeah.
Thinking, I'll just do the washing up. The next minute, the whole house is hoovered, the windows are cleaned. It's all done. And I think, and then afterwards, when you kind of go to the end of the night and I don't know, you walk down the stairs and see it all presented beautifully because you've done it. It's like a sense of achievement, and it's the basic. It's the housework. It's crazy.
Have you ever had it in reverse? Where I know I had this not long ago when I tried to take like a couple of days off, where you have the day that you want to do everything and have nothing to do.
Nate, you know my life. I have lots of days like that. because then I start feeling jittery.
Yeah.
I've got a day where I don't want to do anything. I've decided that nothing matters. I'm going to chill. And then my brain goes, yeah, but why aren't you doing something?
Yeah.
What should we do?
Guilt instantly.
It's strange. Well, not strange. It's life, isn't it? It's how it is.
Again, one weekend, I went to pieces. All I was thinking the whole weekend was, but I could be doing so much work. And now I'm thinking, but I want to do the work now. So now I'm telling myself no. But I don't know if that's ODD or what. But like, it's crazy, isn't it? Because it's like, where does it, if that in itself, I think that's underspoken about enough. Because that's one of my worst frames of mind to be in, because that then turns into unmet anxiety. If I don't get that out to do a task or take my mind off it, I'll be worrying all day. It turns to anxiety, then it turns to bad mood or whatever.
And then it turns into you feeling absolutely wretched because why didn't I just do it? Why didn't I just get up and do it? But I told myself I'm not doing it. Yeah, but I should be doing it. But do I need to do it though? And then it's that back and forward battle with yourself. And that is enough to just drain you.
Yeah.
You know, and then the next day seems to be a bit shit because you're so, and then you get into bed and I don't know, my mind don't switch off. And my mind goes, yeah, but you should have done that. And why didn't you do this? Oh, I didn't make that phone call.
Oh God, yeah.
That can turn into, you know, days of panicking and over worry and agitation over something really minor.
Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it? Like, I think with ADHD especially, that it's a horrible in a sense, but it's also not. And again, the more you can kind of get on side of it, you have to work with it, but not let it take control. It's like the awful balance. And even then, some days you ain't got a chance. But it's the work that we have to do around. Again, you're not on medication, and you've already kind of started the process really healthily of doing the natural things and having natural things in place. But medication alone is never just enough, I don't think, for an adult. It has to be a combination of stuff, and it's such hard. Like with autism, with comparing it to autism, you don't have to constantly, like, you don't put the work in constantly like you do with ADHD, because autism is your frame, isn't it, of what you want to do. ADHD is challenging you all the time, challenging what you're thinking,
but I think
feeling to what you're doing.
A lot of people will say, and I don't want to upset anyone, I've got kids with both, that autism is worse than ADHD. As a parent of both, I can manage autism. Mm-hmm. ADHD is a different breed. It's a different breed because the goalposts are changing all the time, and it's like you're in a constant battle of chasing your tail and making sure she's all right, because you just never know what's going to trigger it. And for me, it's also, as an adult, trying to keep myself in a box that's acceptable in society. The lack of filter, as you know, is awful. What you say, whether it's acceptable to people, is really difficult, and that's draining when you're constantly going, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it, shh, Krystal, shh. It's hard, or the outburst, because you're just feeling overwhelmed, overstimulated, and then you've had a go at someone, you think, oh, I've got to backtrack, got to go and say sorry, or they hate me now.
Yeah,
they hate me because I've acted such a dick.
It's and even like I said, the adrenaline dumps you get through the day, and when you do go after hours, how heightened you are. I would argue, day to day, I would say I would agree with you, because I've got both, and I would say ADHD is a lot harder to manage.
Dangerous. I've had rages that I get back in my car and I think, go home. You need to get home. You're going to get arrested. Because when that rage comes, and it will come from nowhere over something simple. Years ago, again, I thought it was bipolar. Now I recognise what it is, and I now kind of tell myself, get in your car and go home. Go home. Now. Because it's just not acceptable. But it's learning. I'm now learning to use a filter. I'm not always great at it, but I am learning that, like, come on, you've got to be. I think it's a hard balance, isn't it? Because you want to be yourself and then not hide and conform to being normal, but also you do know that ADHD does take the piss sometimes. Like, it's that line, isn't it, of trying to find what's if it's going to be even received right, like, as well, because you could say it and then that said instantly the guilt of when it doesn't. In your head, it's funny. No, in your head, you are hilarious, and then you watch. I've done it on our parent check-ins where I've said something and I've read the room and thought, oops, are you all right? And 9 times out of 10, I'm never there to offend anyone, and I generally don't, not in, because people know me, they accept, and I'm getting better at holding it in. But with people you don't know, and you get that anxiety, and everything spills out, and you're 100 miles an hour, and you're all over the place, they're looking at you like you've got two fucking heads.
Yeah.
And in your brain, you're going, shut up, slow down, and you can't.
No.
And then you get home, and the overthinking starts.
I used to be, if it wasn't for me having a social platform and people not caring, and clearly because everyone goes on 2 times speed and I speak 2 times speed, so it must fit with the narrative moment. But before that, I used to hate it. I used to think that everyone's going to think I'm a cocaine addict. I was like, I haven't even I don't even touch it anymore. And now I sound like this. Like, and it's...
Do you know how many times, do you know how many times I've been asked that question? Again, we all know I've had my days of cocaine, pre-children. And I've been asked it. Are you back on it? Mm. Do you know how soul destroying that is when you want to say, and these are people that know me and love me, that I've got to go, what? You shitting me? No, people pay to be this way. This is just me.
Yeah, no, it's crazy to think that, isn't it? Like, because it's one thing I'm trying to work with, but I just don't know how to do it, to slow my speech down. It slows my brain down so much, I feel like I'm being condescending to the person I'm speaking to. So like, because to me, that's really like me dumbing it down. It sounds like,
doesn't sound right.
It sounds like me really talking slow to get someone to...
Yeah. Talking like you're stupid.
Yeah, and I can't get over
it. Why are you not understanding? Yeah. I know when I'm in very high anxious situations, I had a nurse's appointment. I'm not going to go into what that nurse was doing, but let's just say it was women's things. Mm. And the stuff I was coming out with to this nurse in my doctor's surgery, no, Nate, honestly, ludicrous. I walked out and thought I can never fucking go there again, because it was just one after the other, outrageous. Oh my God, is it that? And oh my God, are you seeing that? And you're right down there.
Yeah.
I wanted to die, Nate. I got in my car and sat and thought, I can't do this. I need meds. And I started chasing up my...
It's like that. It's like we do, the 3 Fs. It's like we've got like freeze, fight or flight, but we've got another one which is called funny, and it's where we think in hyper situations that we could just kill the mood with humour, and it might not be appropriate to the situation, but we just try and say something to break. It's almost like the tension. I do it for tension, so I say a joke when it's meant to be a tense moment, because I do, and it's just inappropriate because it's tense. It's tense for a reason, Nathan. That's why I tell myself.
Obviously, I do it a lot. I do it a lot. You've seen it. I'm not. Well, can be as brutal as you are at times, and sometimes I just think, shut up, please, someone shut me up, just shut me up, someone shut me down, because I'm running and I can't stop now, I'm there. And I've done it now.
It's hard.
And then it's that whole, it's that whole, oh man. And then it's the self-love, because you think, you're a dickhead. You're a div. Everyone's going to, why would you do that?
But do you think that...
You've just made someone...
Do you think that's physically? I was just thinking about the way that we go up and down all the time. So when we're doing that, that's probably where we just said about being anxious. So do you think the regret comes from the mindset of your body then dumping all of the adrenaline and you feeling bad? So I'm actually going to think of that next time, of saying it's not actually my mind. This is because I was hyper here and now I feel shit. That's a...
And now it's the come down.
Yeah, it's the come down.
And without being funny, go back to addiction days.
This isn't me, this is the come down.
You'd be on it. You'd have a nice conversation all the next day. You'd be overthinking everything you've done. I think it's the same.
Wow,
come down.
It is actually, isn't it? It's very similar to that.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we do.
And it's just understanding.
It's just our body's so down the other way that we're feeling threatened, and it has to be that.
There you go. And you're now into kind of self-defense mode. You're thinking, oh my God, I don't like it. When I'm actually this morning, I didn't know if I was going to record this because I could feel the 100 miles an hour. Oh my God, I can feel it. Is it a good idea? And I thought, no, you're going to control it, Krystal. Done it quite well. I don't like the feeling. Don't like the racing 100 miles an hour. I hate it. No,
if it makes my blood boil, I like to. It makes. It's the only way to think it. I have like warm blood. Like there's like energy that races through me, and I hate it. And it's like that's not going to be good. And it's just, again, we were talking about it on that call yesterday actually about how ours comes out similar. That mine doesn't really come out in like nervousness. It comes out in a bit more snappiness and aggression. So like I'll have no patience, and it's almost like if I was trying to tell me a million things at once, I get really, really like, stop. Why are you trying to do this? I'm not doing it. Like, and it's not that he said anything. It's because he's asked me to do 1, 2, 3, 4 things in the space of 2 seconds.
And I can't cope with what my head's doing. And now you're putting it, and you're putting, and I'm like, can you just give me 5
Yeah.
minutes? And these poor kids are stood in front of me going, yeah, but Mum, we need 5
I've only
minutes.
asked.
But I really,
I've not spoken to you for 6 hours. It's the first thing I said to you.
and then comes the guilt,
Yeah.
because you're overwhelmed, overstimulated. Did I just fucking do it? And I have to kind of go, girls, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mummy's snappy. I love you both. Mummy's just feeling a bit like you do at times, and I messed up, and I'm sorry. You know, do you forgive me and all that? But I don't like the feeling.
No.
Because it's not their
No,
fault.
and I was like that. No, about when Calvin first came here, because of the behaviours he was exhibiting, I realised that every time it was close, I'd just get tense. Like, even if it just said hello, Daddy, it made me just like, oh, what's going to happen? Like, it was kind of like eggshell sort of thing, wasn't it? Like, but then I realised that's not fair. He's not done anything, and it's like then I started doing stuff like, oh, he's not going to like that if I tell him, and it was like I'm not even letting him even get to the behaviour now. Like, do you know what I mean? This is my anxiety. I had to really check myself.
It's you waiting.
Yeah, but it takes, well, I think what happens as well, and I've noticed with him, and I think it happened to me and probably you as well, people's perception of us doesn't change for a long time. So when you go through them bad set behaviours, I still see it with my oldest. Like, different people in my family still treat him like he's that kid. He hasn't had an incident, like a physical incident, for about a year now, over a year. And it's not like he's not had the incident. He's so far removed from that kid now. He doesn't even present like that. As I said, it's like his ADHD's gone and he's just autistic now. But people still acts like that, like he's going to be like that, or be unreasonable, and you can see it there with him sometimes. Like, he goes to places and you can see that they're just already on edge and just already ready to shut him down, like before he's done anything.
See, for me, my family members will go back to the time when I was what they thought was bipolar, and I was a nightmare. They couldn't control us, just couldn't. I'm still looked at in those eyes. I've moved myself away. I've started a life. I've achieved a lot for my children, achieved a lot for myself, helping other people, and I'm still seen in that light, and that drives me insane.
Yeah.
And then you see it happening with my kids. They do the same with, say, Matilda, because Matilda's been violent, and here she goes. What? Sorry? Calm yourself down. Yeah. She's fine.
Yeah.
It's just
that them fit comments, isn't it? Like, and it's also that hypervigilance to their behaviour. Like, I had this the other day when it was Dion's birthday, and it's like Calvin was trying to get the argument out of me, and I just deflected it. I wasn't giving it to him because he was anxious about the environment. I knew it was anxiety. He was waiting for me to intercept so that he could then shout and then we could have an argument and blah blah. And I didn't give it to him, but because he was like that, he set off about 3 adults. Like his mum was one of it. His mum, my mum, everyone else, like everyone was like kind of like, oh, like your comedy, he's going to turn in a minute. He's going to turn in a minute. Like,
but at that point, you just want to sit there and go, stop.
Yeah, like he's done nothing.
Stop.
Like, he's
until if I'm panicking, you're panicking. Until I'm panicking, you don't need to.
Yeah.
Chill.
Yeah, it gets you thinking, should I have said something? Should I have done this?
Yeah, and then the overthinking starts again, because your adrenaline's up there, because you're waiting for something to happen, and the adults are making comments, and you're looking at your kid thinking, don't do it, and you're trying to keep them calm, watching your kid, but inside you're thinking, please don't, and then it's the calm down again.
I'm going to start seeing, I think that's a really healthy way. For me, I think that's going to really help me actually start seeing my dips as come downs from, and then because I guarantee you'll always be able to put it to 2 or 3 days of where you've been up. I reckon there's never just going to be like, oh, I've had an average day, then flatlines. Like, it's always going to be like coming off the back of being something really high or being able to do a really work, or, you know.
I get it after big social events.
I know, I'm going to have one after that.
Yeah. I say big social events. Say I'm sat at the hairdressers for 4 hours.
That's a long time.
Best believe in it. The blow dryers, the lights, the mirrors reflecting all different things over the place, and you're looking and thinking, I don't know where I am. It's disorientating. Then I can feel the bleach burning my scalp, and I'm thinking, am I going to die? Literally. By the time I come out the hairdressers, it's game over, mate. I'm not doing anything the next day. I prepare myself. School meetings, EHCP reviews. Because I have to heavily mask who I am. I really do in school meetings. Yeah. I don't do anything the next day. I just can't.
No, but again, when you get advanced of it, and as I said, you start to know that, as you said, and you would not put anything the next day. So you'd kind of know that you're going to flatline. I'm very bad in social situations, but what I'm very bad at is forgetting that I'm bad in social situations. So I go, yeah, let's go do this, let's go plan this, let's go do this, and then it comes up to the event, and I shit myself progressively for the week before it comes.
I can't do it.
Yeah,
I'm
and
ill
brought myself
today.
out of
I'm
it.
ill.
And everyone's like, you fucking was the one who rang us up and said about going out, you dick. Why are you the one that's going to melt it? People, I tell you what, my brothers especially, they absolutely hate me for it. They won't even take me seriously. If I make a plan, they'll be like, yeah, right, tell me it's on a day. Like, I will.
Yeah. See, I done it with your event. You know, your London event. I was like, yeah, game on. Got close, and I was like, shit, man, how am I doing this?
It's too much time, isn't it? It's a sweet spot. You need to give yourself maybe a day or two. Anything more than that, you're going to get into your head. A week, because at the time the dopamines are dead, and you've got no dopamines. You're like, oh.
I'm easier for it to be dropped on me, and if my mood is right, let's go. I can do anything. Building up to it, man.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's been good.